Why does cybersecurity in municipalities matter? Do you have any ideas? I want to see some of your answers in the chat box. Would you mind typing your answers in the chat box a little bit? I'm curious what you think. So the first question, phishing attacks resulting in ransoms. Yeah, the ransom attacks are really on our mind these days. Another answer, information security, social security numbers, personal security. Yes, the answer to this question for me is because the cybersecurity matter really has a direct impact on us, our daily lives. And what comes to my mind first, just like some of you said already, is data breach. So these municipalities out there, they manage all kinds of personally identifiable information such as social security number, driver's license numbers, birth and death records. I mean, there's so much information that could be stolen, and then it could eventually lead to something like an identity theft. The second thing that comes to my mind is actually the service outages due to something like a ransomware attack we've just witnessed. So I know by now all of us heard of this Colonial Pipeline attack. And the ransomware attack there was basically asking them to pay up before they unlock their computer. Otherwise, they were going to destroy all the data on their computer. So as you can see, these types of things really have a lot of impact on us. I mean, in the Colonial Pipeline case, basically they are not able to get their gas. But in the case of municipalities, you're not going to be able to get your services like getting a permit or driver's license. So it does have a direct impact on you. And then when it's time to pay the ransom money, it's actually coming out of your own pocket too. So it's taxpayers' money. Some of you may be asking then, is this kind of threat real? I mean, are these actually happening? And my answer to that is that yes, yeah, these attacks are happening. And then as you can see in this chart, almost 50%, I mean, here it says 45%, but almost a half of all these ransomware attacks against different organizations are coming from these attackers, but these are targeting local governments, municipalities like boroughs, townships, and cities, and so on. So it is real, it is happening at these local governments. So because of the gravity of this cybersecurity problem at local governments, the Center for Rural Pennsylvania, which is a research arm of the Pennsylvania General Assembly, commissioned the research study in 2019. And guess who the lucky winner of the grant was? Actually, the winner was our team, which was actually tasked to check the readiness of all these local governments, especially in terms of cybersecurity. And then at the end of the process, we were asked to provide some policy recommendations. And I was also lucky enough to get another grant back in 2009, which asked for similar things. So this was a great opportunity for us to really compare, in between 2009 and 2019. In order for us to measure cybersecurity readiness, we had to come up with a model. And this assessment model consisted of these three very essential elements, three elements. One of them was infrastructure, basically trying to understand what these municipalities actually have, what kind of tools they have. And then the second very critical element was to measure the literacy, how much they know about computers or cybersecurity. And then finally, whether they are actually using the tools or the knowledge to protect their organizations against these types of cybersecurity attacks. And we actually conducted a survey asking questions around these types of different aspects of cybersecurity. So for infrastructure related type of questions, we asked, questions like how much budget you're investing in terms of cybersecurity compared to your overall budget, and are you actually able to provide the equipment or software necessary to protect your local government. So there are tons of these questions around the infrastructure aspect of cybersecurity. For literacy, we asked questions like, for example, do you know what Wi-Fi is? And when it comes to computer literacy, we asked the security question like, do you know what encryption is? That type of thing. Of course, we had many, many more questions around the literacy aspect of cybersecurity. And when it comes to daily practice, we asked questions like, for example, are you backing up your data? Or are you disposing of your used equipment properly? I mean, are you wiping out all the data before you throw out your equipment? Are you providing enough training for your employees and so on? And I mean, no matter how much you know about cybersecurity, if you use a sticky note like this on your computer, write down your password, it's almost good for nothing, right? So that's the type of thing we're trying to measure. So at the end of the process, we were able to calculate this composite score for all the municipalities in Pennsylvania, so both urban and rural cities, boroughs, townships, and so on. And it turns out that basically 338 out of 387. So a majority of these municipalities pretty much failed the test. So they were under 50 when it comes to the score. So what I'm going to say is, are you scared? I don't know about you, but I'm scared.